How's it going, guys, and welcome back to Planet Coaster. This is the fourth and final episode of building Greenhorn, this first project in Planet Coaster I've been working on for way too long now. So in this episode we're going to be going through some of the final touches that I went through this past week. As you can see on the screen, it is pretty much done. I'm not going to be doing anything else to it. There are a lot of things I could continue to do for it, a lot more details. The landscaping is kind of lackluster, but I'm at this point in this project where I just want to be done with it. Not because I'm sick of it, I really enjoy doing it, but just I want to move on to bigger and better things. This was really supposed to be like, this first project, get things going, kind of get started doing things. I'm really happy with how it turned out. So without further ado, let's get into some of these final steps that I went through. So you can go with this first time lapse. You can see I am working on custom coaster supports. Now I did end up going through and doing 100% custom coaster supporting for this coaster. This was built after the 1.7 update came out, so I'm using a lot of the custom pieces that came with that update. And I started off by building a couple generic supports off to the left hand side, you can see, and what I did was I would grab one, pull it over to where I wanted to edit it, and make it fit the area. Now I spent a lot of time doing these custom supports. Even the time-lapse footage was like over 30 minutes of just me doing supports. So I just cut out this one section of me working on this Immelman loop, which was one of the more difficult sections to do, as I mentioned in one of the last episodes, because of the structure underneath it. I definitely did not want to support the loop off of the station structure, so I had to figure out a way to support the center section of the Immelman loop realistically. And I feel like the way it turned out probably would not happen in real life. I think it would work. I feel like a designer would try to avoid this at all costs, but I feel like it turned out pretty nice, and I think it would definitely be doable if somebody wanted to in real life. I really wanted to make a point to have the connection for the supports as close to the top of the loop as I could, and then have these kind of outstretched support bars or whatever to then connect it to the ground. I spent a lot of time with this one specifically getting the angle for this kind of the side supporting rod, because I didn't want it to be super long and like a really wide footprint. So I started off with a general angle, I built it a little longer, and then I go through at the end and tilt it a little more, trying to really hone in on that positioning for the rod. And like I said, this took a lot longer than I wanted it to, but I am pretty happy with how the custom supports turned out. In the time lapse, I don't have any of the flanges or the footers put on yet, but after I finished all the supports around the track, I just went through and slapped down a bunch of footers and flanges and all that good stuff. So you don't see that in the video, but it was done in the end, and you will see it in the pictures and the montage footage in the next episode. So here's just another piece I was working on. That same idea, starting with that one kind of basic structure and then making it work for each section. That's how I built most of them. I had a couple different designs that I used, but the process was pretty much identical for each one. So then after that, I went into, you can see now I have the flanges and the footers already on the supports. And like I mentioned in the last episode, I wanted to add this kind of turnaround area, switchback area out in this field as part of the queue, and build an overhang over it that matched the coaster station. So here you can see, this is the same process how I built the overhang or the cover over the coaster station, which got edited out in my my last episodes because it took way too long. But here you can see this pretty much the same exact process as I did. I made a frame with the iron girders and tried to make sure it was super reinforced, so in real life nothing would be subjected to weird pressures or anything like that. Used a lot of iron girders, and then I went through and placed these wooden columns or wooden beams on top. First I grabbed the colors off the other roof to make sure it matched perfectly. And this is how I built the first roof actually. I laid down a random selection of different lengths of the wood beams and then copy and pasted that a couple times to get a somewhat random repeating pattern going on, because it's 5 or 6 rows of columns that is repeating, but it really helps speed things up. So there I just cut, everything was copy and pasted, and then I selected a random amount and just changed the colors, and give it that really cool textured look, different kind of shades of wood, and that matches the other ones really well. Here we are inside of the coaster building again. Like I said last episode, the roof just pulls up with one click, or it's one building, and I wanted to add the person standing here is going to be a desk, obviously, and then the thing next to him is a backstage area that eventually gets covered up and it's just for employees only. I think it was really cool seeing employees walk back and forth inside this little shop area. So this little desk here is designed to look like two big industrial printers behind a counter that he's standing at. The printers, which I start working on in a second here, are rather plainly detailed. I didn't do any research into what, big industrial printers look like. There's pretty much big boxes that have some really generic details on them, but they turned out pretty well, and you'll see that in a second here. Like I said, there's a couple TVs there that would be used to showcase the photos from the ride, in which case you'd come up to the desk and purchase a photo. That's the idea here. So we're starting here, like I said, on the industrial boat printers. They're just boxes. That's all they are, they're just a box. But yeah, like I said, just super generic details. I just put some gray detailing on it just to make it look like there, could be something, paper comes out the side and gets fed from the top or something like that. They're just really generic, square, industrial looking commercial printers. Then the next thing I really like what I did here is I took a TV monitor and flipped it sideways and sunk half of it into this counter, so it looks kind of like a computer screen. Since we don't have any small monitors, that would work well for that. I think it worked out pretty good for like a point of sale system for the employee guy to use. And now once again we are building another overhang over the stairs that will also match the wood from the general coaster building and the switchback area and the transfer track area. All same colors, all that good stuff. Obviously you want to have a cover over the stairs because having a hole in your ceiling isn't usually a good thing. So that's what we're doing here. Same technique as before. Build a couple rows, copy and paste it, and then you're good to go. Change the colors, and that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I will see you all in the next video.